Hello, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today's video topic is on taking a leap of faith, and how taking a leap of faith might seem intimidating, but it could actually be the easiest thing you've ever done. So I had this realization when I was at work. I feel like I have a lot of great insight while I'm at work, and I think the reason for this is because repetitive cleaning tasks kind of get you out of your normal stream of consciousness and sort of shift you into maybe a more focused and aware state of mind. To actually benefit from this, you do have to be very aware. Like, you could look into like Gurdjieff or like Buddhism. Don't let your eyes glaze over when you're doing these repetitive cleaning tasks. Like, you need to be locked in. So there's the story of these two brothers, and they want to become Buddhist monks. So they go to the temple, and one of the brothers really takes to it naturally, and he's making progress on his path. And the other brother, he's kind of like, he has like monk ADHD. Like, he's like, I literally can't remember the sutras. I'm never gonna make it as a monk. I'm just gonna go home and take care of our aging parents, which is kind of noble of him. But the other brother, he's like a Buddhism fanatic, and he's like, no, like, stay with it. But here's what you'll do. And he gives him a broom, and he tells him, just sweep the temple. And the other brother, he's kind of like, okay, fine, I'll just sweep. And he's sweeping, and all the dust motes are flying around him. And like, after days and days or weeks or years of sweeping, he has the realization: sweep clean the mind. Sweep clean the mind. That is his enlightenment. Anyway, so that's why I think work can produce such valuable insights. And then a second factor was that I was working with my millennial coworker, and the playlist she put on was Ed Sheeran, Spotify AI generated radio, and it was playing all this stuff like Coldplay and Maroon 5, you know, How to Save a Life. Hey There Delilah. I like that song, actually. Then I started to like the playlist when Complicated by Avril Lavigne came on, because this song has some incredible insights. On the surface, it seems like it's just about a couple, right? And a boyfriend who makes things too complicated. No, but it's actually about yourself and your mental processes. So I'll read you an excerpt from the song Complicated by Avril Lavigne. Why do you have to go and make things so complicated? I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. So making things so complicated, that's literally what I was doing, because I knew that I needed to take a leap of faith in my artistic career. And I've always heard the phrase, leap and the net will appear. And I accepted that. I was like, okay, I'll make the leap, and I think everything will be okay as long as I make the leap. But then I made it too complicated, because I was thinking, what is the leap supposed to be? Like, is the leap moving to a new city? Is the leap quitting my job? Is the leap launching some project? And then I realized I made it too complicated. A leap of faith. That's literally what it was. I made a leap of faith. And this is the craziest thing, is like, I already made it. All the time I was thinking, I need to make my leap of faith. It's done. And when I made this leap of faith, it was when I accepted myself as an artist and knew that success was possible for me. I was listening to Doechii last night, and she has this interlude called God. And so she was talking about this process where she started to accept herself as an artist and accept that there was some creative force within her, and that she could tap into this unlimited creative potential, and just the idea that everyone can tap into this creative potential. And I thought, that sounds so familiar, because when I started to take this leap of faith in my artistic journey, I read this self-help book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And it's essentially like Alcoholics Anonymous for artists. It's structured into 12 weeks, and you work through all your limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And essentially it's like creative recovery. You're healing yourself as an artist, because you were always an artist, but you were just blocking yourself because of these limiting beliefs. So I looked up Doechii, The Artist's Way. Maybe she has done this self-help book. She did, in fact. It was on her YouTube channel in 2019. She had a whole series of videos talking about her process working through this book. And that just inspired me so much, because when you haven't really made that much progress in your artistic career, you think of a separation between the famous artists and yourself, and you think that you won't be able to attain that, and that they're on a completely different wavelength from you, and that their process was completely different. And then you realize they've been through all the same things. It's all been done before. Like Avril Lavigne said, they all went through this process of finding themselves as an artist and accepting themselves as an artist, and gaining that confidence and making that leap of faith in that, knowing that your art has value in this world. And then tying it back to Avril Lavigne again, the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. Somebody else, right? That is our ego, or the persona that we show to the world, right? Who we really are. Who we really are is this God, this creative force. Because we identify far too much with, especially the negative thoughts that we have about ourselves. We identify too much with the experiences of the time that we were born into and things like our familial upbringing, and we take it to define us, when really we need to identify with that creative force. And that is really the leap of faith, is being able to leave behind these things that you've been so attached to, these attachments about who you are in the world, what you can do in the world, where you belong, and taking a leap into the unknown in a way, but at the same time it's also the familiar, because you are connected to a lineage of artists and an energy that stretches across time and space. This is the net. The net that you're leaping into is the creative energy that has sustained our civilization for thousands of years. And you're part of this network of artists and creative minds. And you're not just a single person struggling alone. So chances are you've already made your leap of faith by accepting yourself as an artist and identifying with this larger tradition. So if you haven't yet made this leap of faith, know that it's coming soon. Or perhaps you already have made it and you didn't even realize it. Because for myself, I really thought that I hadn't made the leap of faith. And as I reflected on all these things that I've done over the past few months, it made me realize like I actually did make the leap. I already did it. And on the topic of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, I would recommend this book. I don't think that this book is the only effective way to find creative recovery, but it is a tried and true method. And the methods in this book will very likely consolidate techniques that you've already been using. Like for me, that's really how it felt. Things like a sort of weekly routine where you're checking in on your progress and things like journaling. Those were things that I had already been doing or knew that I needed in my life. The book just provided a little bit more structure and then kind of the comforting guidance of someone who has already been through this whole process. Because it really has all been done before. You don't need to reinvent the wheel trying to be the world's first artist. And especially if you're having trouble finding mentorship in your real life, it's just like, it's a nice companion to help you on your journey and just maybe speed things up a little bit. Hearing these reassuring things about like just making the art and not being so critical about yourself and like really being very gentle to your inner artist. And one thing I would recommend is that if you are having trouble finding these mentors, don't be so intimidated, because they have been through the same thing as you. They have been struggling young artists who don't feel confident in themselves. So you can reach out to an artist who's more experienced, and depending on how busy they are, you gotta find the mid-range of artists where they're not so famous and busy that they don't have time for you, or that, your email is going to an assistant or something, but they have achieved some level of success, or they inspire you in some way. And you can literally just talk to them. Like, it turns out they're actually just normal people and they want to help you out, because usually artists are pretty nice. So don't be afraid of reaching out, because it will be immensely beneficial to you. Like, really don't reinvent the wheel. I've heard this so many times and I still thought, nuh-uh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna reinvent the wheel. And then I realized, like, yeah, it really does save you so much time and energy to just ask someone who's done it before a question. You're not alone. That's essentially the whole point. I hope that this video provided you with some interesting ideas and reminded you, don't make life too complicated. Like, it's going great. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks.